Hi everybody, this is Noelle for Petitti Garden Centers, and guess what? It is our 2024 Casa Tour, and it's actually Earth Week, so this is wonderful to be in the greenhouse and just look at all of the color. This is an annual greenhouse where we grow a lot of our annuals. There are a few hanging baskets of tumbler tomatoes above Taylor's head. She's not going to pan that way, but we'll show you those as well. But lots of geraniums through this area, folks. Begonias, you're seeing fields of begonias. I see a little bit of celosia sticking up. The celosia plumosa is back there. There's marigolds over here to my left. So a lot is going on in this greenhouse. And when we get to some of the other greenhouses, I do want to tell you that here at Casa Verde, we do recycle our water resources. We actually have flood floors in the greenhouse, and that water comes in. We bottom water those plants because they're sitting there, and then we go ahead and drain that water out, filter, recycle, and go ahead and use it again. So that's a cool thing, especially for Earth Week, that I think is great, that we use in our growing process. So it's really, really nice. And you can tell, I mean, zonal geraniums, beautiful. This greenhouse is a little bit warmer, stays a little bit warmer. So we have those crops that need a little bit of heat to really kind of keep going, doing well. We're having still some very cool temperatures, cool nights, but that's okay. And just remember, your annual crops, folks, our average last frost date is somewhere between the first and middle week of May. And if you haven't been able to prep your soil, which is always key to growing your plant material well and being successful with it, I would always suggest prepping your soil at the beginning of May, if you can get out there and do it, letting it settle for 2 weeks. And then by mid-May or end of May, that's when you're going to be ready. The soil has warmed up a little bit more. All of your prep work has started to settle in, and your plants will be so much happier. So let your soil warm up. If you want to start container gardening, however, that's a really cool thing that you can do earlier, and you just have to watch out for those frosts. If you're getting your annuals outside, you want to make sure that they're under cover or covered up well if frost events do come. But you can start container gardening a little bit sooner because you fill those pots up and that soil gets warm really, really fast. Okay, let's talk about annuals as we keep on going. Zonal geraniums here, all the zonals, beautiful, beautiful colors. These are going to be the large foliage and then the large flowering cluster of geraniums here. Beautiful. I can't get over. They're just a great plant, great for full sun areas, of course. Deer resistance, yeah, it's like 50-50, guys. Same thing, you want that geranium to be fuzzy, you want them to be more aromatic. So the more that they're that way, the better. And I should have Taylor look over at the marigolds there. When you have those single flowering marigolds, you can see the center, you can smell them. That is going to be one of the best marigolds to use as far as kind of repelling, of course, deer and rabbits, but also being more of like a repellent or trap crop. I just said crap, sorry, repellent or trap crop for whiteflies around tomatoes and those types of things. So think about that when you're selecting your annual plants. It works real well. It's awesome. But again, more fragrant, more fuzzy, the better off you'll be as far as the pests on them. Okay, let's keep going. I'm standing by your classic bedding impatiens. And this one is so pretty. It's that pastel-y, beautiful mix. It's Pearl Island mix. And these are the Beacon impatiens. Now, Beacon impatiens, what you need to know about them is they are downy mildew resistant. And that is the only series that we're growing here at Casa Verde that's going to be at the Petitti locations is the Beacon series. And they are absolutely wonderful as far as disease resistance is concerned. If you've had issues in the past with bedding impatiens, downy mildew has been out there. It's been out there for, gosh, it seems like over a decade. We've dealt with issues with downy mildew. It is present. It stays for a very long time in soil. The beacon impatiens are going to be the ones that are going to be able to fight that pathogen off. So look for beacon out there. They are available. You want to find, if you love your classic impatiens, your bedding impatiens, use those series that have the best disease resistance. So beacon is going to be one of those out there. Your larger impatiens, your New Guinea impatiens, the larger flowering types, or sun patiens, those are also downy mildew resistant. So never be worried about planting those in areas where maybe you had an issue before. They do very, very well. We're by the tumbler tomatoes, so I told you they were right above, they were above Taylor's head, a ton of them, but I wanted to show you, look at that. They're nice and green. They're starting to fill out, plenty of fruit, and then also a little bit of flowering above. So you can see that next level of branching and flowers coming out. So they are going to be full to bursting, when they get into the store. So that's coming real soon as well. Just remember with your tumblers, red cherry tomato, wonderful sweetness, really, really great burst of flavor. Keep picking and cutting back, okay? Don't let them get totally overgrown where those branches get really, really big and start to break off. Make sure that you're picking and cutting back so it keeps on producing new growth and more flowers and more tomatoes for you, okay? And just below here, we've got some Dipladenia. I'm gonna pick this one up. It's flowering. Do you see that little guy right there? So just starting to really push out. This greenhouse has a vented roof system on it, so the breeze is blowing through, and it's a cool day. So right now we don't have a lot of sun out, but it's feeling really, really nice in here. And sometimes when you reduce that temperature and just bring in through some of those spring breezes, it's really, really great for the plants because they just kind of hardy up and get ready for the growing season. So this will have many, many more buds to come. We also have hanging baskets of peppers this season. So this is cool. We can grow all of our veg in hanging baskets, and you could do that anytime you wanted to. But there's a pepper right up here. It's called Sweet Heat. And it is a little bit smaller pepper, more like a pepperoncini type size, if you will, a little bit wrinkled, green to red, but really, really nice. So you've got a sweet flavor, a little bit of heat. It's it's really not hot, like when you get a sweet heat in the name, when you get heat, you think, oh gosh, how hot is that? But it's really not. It's very mild. But that one, and then right behind it are the jalapenos. And you can see white flowers on the jalapenos. The branches are coming straight out. And then the jalapenos, when they start to take on some weight, they'll start to kind of lean over the side. So this is going to be cool. We're really excited about the peppers and the tomatoes and strawberries and hanging baskets. It's nice to be able to, pick all of your produce right there. Look up. Oh my gosh. All sun impatiens. These are your sun patiens. They're the mixtures, like the combos. So there's going to be 3 different colors in every one of these, but they're all in the moss hanging baskets, and they are just thriving in this greenhouse. They absolutely love it here. I think most of them on the floor here, you see like the quart-sized sun patiens as well, but oh my gosh, doing lovely. Absolutely love this color combination, but I can't get over those moss baskets. They're enormous. Beautiful branching, mounded, absolutely gorgeous. Lots of them too. So remember, your sun patiens, full sun to full shade, downy mildew resistant, great for the garden, great in containers and hanging baskets, just really do a wonderful job. No, they aren't deer resistant, but they do attract the pollinators, so that's always really, really nice. And they kind of what we call bury their dead. So as they keep on blooming up and up and up, they just cover over the old blooms, and you don't really have to deadhead them ever. They just kind of keep on doing their thing. You can take the basket down, kind of move your fingers through it, pull out some of the old, but they just shut it and keep on going. So it's awesome plant. I wanted to show you some of our what we call color your garden. So colorful pots, ready to go plants. This is a mixture of Calibrachoa or miniature petunias, whatever you like to call them. And this one's called Sundance, but look at how beautiful and vibrant these colors are. The yellow, that nice bright fuchsia pink, and then also that dark purple. Lovely. Calibrachoas, just so you know, awesome in containers, hanging baskets, whatever you like. Not so great in the ground though. So if you've ever noticed, if you've ever planted them in the ground soil, they don't really like that condition. So keep them in containers, plant them in your window boxes or wherever you have container gardens, but that's really where they're meant to be. And this of course will trail over, probably give you a good 12 to 18 inches of trailing. Really, really nice, but beautiful colors, so bright and beautiful. And again, anywhere you want to place it, in the sun, of course, with Calibrachoa, but there are going to be other options for shadier spots in our color your garden pots, but it's just beautiful. So we changed greenhouses, and I'll have Taylor pan up, and this greenhouse is what we call Cravo covered, so it has a retractable roof system to it. Open to the air, open to the elements right now. Like I said, it's probably in the upper 40s, low 50s right now, but it feels wonderful in here. And again, in this greenhouse, there's a kind of a mixed bag, if you will. So there are clematis growing in this greenhouse. There are a lot of vegetables growing in this greenhouse, including tomatoes, including a lot of lettuces and greens and things like that too. But when you have a greenhouse that you can really cool down in the morning and get that breeze through, these plants look absolutely gorgeous. But I wanted to show you this too, because we were just talking about color your garden. And we have a series of Alstroemeria, or poor man's orchid, that we grow in color your garden, and they're phenomenal. If you've never grown Alstroemeria, it is like a tender perennial in this area, but I just want to tell you that Taylor has planted several of these, and they have come back for her now, what? 2 years, 3 years? 2 years. She's given me the 2. So they're right on the edge of perennial for us here. This is called Colorita. This particular variety is called Catiana. And look at the variegated leaf on this plant. So beautiful white variegation. Kind of looks like a hosta a little bit when they start to come up. And then look at these bright red flowers. If you've never tried cut flowers before, Alstroemeria are some of the longest lasting cut flower stems you can grow in your garden. And they're very, very easy to grow. So sunny spot, 6 or more hours of sunlight, well-drained soil, but they can take a little bit of moisture, and they do wonderfully. And there are beautiful colors. And I wanted to show, I was showing Taylor, there are some of these Catiana that have just pure white leaves. And somebody was asking about if we have a hosta that has pure white leaves, and we really don't have one right now that's pure white. But look at that, that's so cool. So these guys are just starting to come out. But as you can see behind me, there's fuchsias and corals and purples and all these beautiful colors in that Colorita series. So try them if you're interested in growing Alstroemeria. They're a little bit more exotic looking, like I said, kind of look like they're in the orchid family, not really, but really, really beautiful. And I think it'll really turn people's heads if they see you growing these. So remember, I told you, cool greenhouse, great for tomatoes, and you'll see a lot of tomato varieties through here. This is kind of to go with that ready to garden, ready to grow series that we have with the hanging basket, tumbler tomatoes and peppers and strawberries. And here you just take your 12-inch red pots with the cage around them, and you're ready to grow. You can put them on your patios, no problem whatsoever. Sometimes they can get a little top heavy. This hillbilly right here, he just wants to grow a little bit faster than everybody else. But sometimes they can get a little top heavy, so it's nice to place them in like a larger ceramic pot so they won't tip over. So do be aware of that. And they do wonderfully all season. You can grow your tomatoes. Now we've got regular tomato varieties, although Hillbilly is more of an heirloom type. So that's kind of like a orangey red and yellow stripe, really good slicer, beautiful, beautiful color, really, really sweet taste to it, really nice. Then over here are the grafted tomatoes, and there's a little bit of a difference. You've got a little bit of growth difference here, and with the grafted tomatoes, you can tell they're really, really bulky, flushed out, really look nice. And just so you know, if you've never grown a grafted variety of tomato, the rootstock of the tomato is a very disease-resistant, really productive, rapid growing variety, and then they take a desirable tomato and they actually graft it right on top of that fast growing rootstock. And what happens is it makes that desirable variety, that scion, really, really fill out, bloom better, produce better, and also gets the disease resistance from that rootstock. So it's really a cool thing. It's not unusual when we're growing edibles. Practically every apple tree you've ever picked apples off of have been grafted like that, or any hybrid tea rose that you've grown before usually has that same type of graft principle, if you will, in growing. But you can see the grafted tomatoes, they're just really, really hardy, really branched out, looking really, really good. And these guys were kind of planted at the same time. So you've got your regular tomatoes growing and then your grafted tomatoes growing. So very, very cool. We're in the newest section of greenhouses here, and it's just lovely. The sun's come out. Roof is popped open, so everything's venting, and we're getting a nice breeze through here. So it's great. It's a beautiful day. And look at Color Your Garden. And we walked in and I was like, Taylor, we got to show them the cannas. We grow a Canna Nova canna in our Color Your Garden pots, and they're way in the background, so we'll show you those as well. But I wanted to show you some of the euphorbia that we grow in Color Your Garden pots. It's just a nice white fluff, you know, a great plant that you can grow in full sun, and it really does take some shady conditions very well. We have been growing euphorbia with geraniums, so more sun, but we've also been growing them with begonias, so more shade, and they do great in both spots. So don't be afraid to put the euphorbias out. They do a really, really wonderful job of kind of filling an area if you need that nice, graceful flower. A volvulus is right behind it. So this is what they call like a mini morning glory, excuse me. And you see a little bit of blue popping up through the volvulus, but of course it stays very, very compact. It's almost like a trailing, spilling habit with the volvulus. It likes full sun as well. Really, really cool plant if you're looking for nice, bright blues. You know, we're always talking about there's not a lot of true blues out there, but a volvulus is one of them that really shows off during the season. So that's always really good. We have Gartenmeister fuchsia. I love this plant. This plant is an upright fuchsia. It really is not a spilling or a trailer, a classic fuchsia. Upright, dark foliage, gorgeous kind of coral orange, tubular flowers. Again, awesome for the pollinators. Gartenmeister can pretty much take a lot of sun, and it can take shade too. So that's a nice versatile plant that you can put out. And the Gartenmeister and the euphorbia, why not put them together? I mean, both of them are very versatile, and they can kind of move through the garden, and you can place them where you need some color and some texture. They're just really, really wonderful. And look at all of these cannas. So I absolutely love them. Again, great hummingbird plant. You can't go wrong with the cannas. Darker colors are always going to be really nice. I do enjoy the bold texture of the foliage, of course, because you're getting that tropical look. But of course, the flowering color is not half bad either. And even when you come up close with these guys, there's kind of like a pink edge on these cannas here. So do look for that color and texture with these guys. And this is the rose colored, so it's in the pink pots, Color Your Garden pots, and you'll see that beautiful rose canna lily flower come up. These guys like full sun, but they can take a little bit moister soil conditions, average to moist, which is nice, especially when we've got really clay soils and you want some color and some bold texture out in the garden. It's great. It's a great plant for that. They can really tolerate it. They have been coming up year to year from the tubers. When we first started growing Canna Nova, we weren't sure if the tubers were going to stay, or we weren't sure if they were going to really develop a tuber like a normal canna does, but they do, and they do wonderfully. You could let them stay in the pot. You could let them winter over. They do need some protection wintered over, so you really do want to bring them inside to a cooler area, like a 50-degree area. But I'm telling you, they'll winter over, and then you bring them back out, start taking care of the pots again, and watering and feeding, and they'll pop back up again. So they're really very, very versatile as far as a canna is concerned, and compact. They're not the tall cannas. If you want something that's, 4 foot, 5 foot, these are not the varieties. They're much more compact. They're great as centerpieces in container gardens and that type of thing too. Oh, look at mango. Isn't that gorgeous? Look at this color. It's such a great color. Peach is really that like cool color this year, that trending color, but that mango is really, really nice. And then look at all the dark. So we've got the dark foliage types as well. Beautiful, beautiful color. There's a dark leaf red and there's a dark leaf orange. The oranges are kind of far in the back there, all the way in the back corner, but beautiful coloring. And again, I just can't say enough about the texture. And look, there's the red golden flame one that's sticking up right in the middle. So that's actually a green leaf variety, but it has a bicolor flower to it. So really, really fun. But oh gosh, they do a great job in sunny spots in your garden. I have a secret. It's not going to be a secret for much longer. We're growing cosmos this year. A lot of folks have asked us to grow cosmos over the years. It's a pretty easy seeded annual that you can grow yourself and just sprinkle seeds on the ground and they'll grow. But we're growing them. So they're going to be in pots. This is the Apollo mix. So there's a light pink, a white, and then also a darker like burgundy color. And then we also have an orange and a yellow Cosmos sulphurus that we're also growing. They look really similar to Biden's, the way that their habit is, but that's a really neat one too. So we're going to have cosmos this year, everybody. That we haven't grown cosmos in years. I can't even remember when's the last time. So there you go. If you're looking for cosmos, they're here. Lots of color in this greenhouse as well. Right behind me, I've got fire opal, bougainvillea. Look at those flowers are just bursting, and the little white tubes right inside. Good for the hummingbirds there. Really, really great. We've got a little random white one over here too, so that's always fun. And then behind it are some dahlias. So we're going to go look at the dahlias. But if you look above, you'll see almost all of the fuchsia hanging baskets. And I can't remember the stat, and maybe Taylor will remind me, but it's like 90 baskets on one line, something like that. And so they're doubled right now. So 180 on one line. And there's a lot. There's a lot through the greenhouse. So there's lantana in here, fuchsias, bougainvilleas, begonias. That's what I see right here. So quite a bit of hanging baskets. Let's go look at the dahlias too, because they're in full bloom and they look absolutely gorgeous. Jen, how many baskets on a line?
850.
Oh, okay. So 29,000 hanging baskets in this greenhouse right now. Jen said 16 lines, and she said 850 a line. I was totally off, everybody, but that's good. Okay, I hope that adds up. Not sure if the math adds up, but we're going to trust Jen because she knows her greenhouse well. Now, remember we were talking about recycling water and all those things early on, being Earth Week and all those great things. And you can look over here in this empty space. There are little holes in the floor that the water bubbles up, and then the larger square drains in the bottom of the greenhouse. So like I said, it's flood flooring. They're just sitting there. All the plants are sitting there. They absorb the water they want. They go ahead when the water releases, it's gone, and then it just gets recycled, and it's wonderful. I think it's so cool. Dahlias, dahlias, dahlias. Check it out. These look like the Star Sisters. And some of these are already in stores. Yep, Star Sisters, dahlias. So cute little dwarf dahlias, really. Yellows, whites and pinks. Oh my gosh, look at all the colors. And then there's gerbs back here too. So we'll look at the gerbera daisies. I've got gerbera daisies right here. Beautiful mixture. All those bright colors, pinks and peaches, corals, oranges, fuchsia. Absolutely gorgeous. Gerbera daisies. Did you know one of the best air cleaners out there? So if you can bring these inside the house, my goodness, Noelle. So if you can bring them inside the house, they really do a great job of cleaning air. They are a little bit persnickety outside. So I did want to tell you, if you've tried these before and you've kind of thought, I can't grow these, eastern exposure. So morning sun is the key with these. Afternoon shade. Do not plant them in a southern or western exposure. They will get way too hot. They'll open up, they'll bloom out, and then they'll just fade really, really quickly. So you want to make sure you get morning sun, afternoon shade on them. They will be wonderful. Okay, that's the key with gerbera daisies. And don't forget to, make sure that you're using the stems, clipping the stems, using them in a vase or arrangement, because they really do. The more that you cut, you look down in the center of this plant and you'll see more buds and more growth coming right out of the center. So make sure you're constantly cutting, deadheading this plant, and then they'll produce more buds for you. But eastern exposure is the key. I kid you not. Right beyond that is the Thurumbergia vines, which we also call black-eyed Susan vine. Really, really pretty varieties. Fairly aggressive growing vine, just so you know. They will climb, a good 6-7 foot trellis in one season. They absolutely love to wrap around, plant material. Look at the side of that pot, right? Side of the cage. So they're all kind of wrapped and twined up there, but really, really pretty series here. And typically we've got the yellow here. There's a pink, and then there's also like a orangey yellow, like really pretty, kind of like a sunburst. Taylor and I are getting low in the greenhouse, and I wanted to show you one of our favorite flowering annuals is flowering Vinca, or Catharanthus. Yeah, it's a terrible botanical name, but look at this. This is a new color. It is blockbuster blue, and it's really strange when you're looking at it. And typically Vincas are, pinks and purples and reds and whites. There's lots of different colors with them, but they're usually in that pinky scheme. But when you look across here, it kind of makes your eyes, like your eyes are having a hard time adjusting, because it's like ultraviolet. It is really a beautiful color. I think you're really going to love it. Of course, we love flowering Vinca because it's a great deer-resistant annual. It absolutely loves heat and sunshine, so don't plant them until your soil is prepped and warm. Remember, I'm telling you, because if you put them in cold ground, they'll just go backwards, okay? But look at that new color. It's really, really pretty. There are some hanging baskets that I wanted to point out, and they're gonna take off pretty soon. They're headed to stores. But we have the dragon wing begonias that I absolutely love, and I feel like I talk about them every year. And I really think if you've never grown them, you should try these, just because these begonias are very versatile, can handle sun and shade, self-cleaning, really, really wonderful. The hummingbirds love them. I just think they're great. But underneath them is the Boliviensis type of begonia. And this one actually is a new one for us. It's called Encanto Red. And then Rose is right next to us. So look at that. Really, really beautiful. Again, with the Boliviensis type, the foliage is smaller. It's almost like an angel wing foliage, a little bit more toothy margin on it, but beautiful profuse flowering, almost like bells. So it's kind of that alternative if you want to be able to grow begonias in full sun to full shade. Try these varieties. They're really, really wonderful. They have that nice spilling effect to them. Really great. And again, self-cleaning, push off the old, bring on the new. So I'm looking forward to them. We're out in our perennial section of Casa Verde, so outside from the main greenhouses. And most of our perennials are just housed in hoop houses out here, so plastic covered hoop houses. And that's it. We don't heat these. They just kind of do their thing, and we just really wanted to show you a lot of color through here. And this is one of the hoop houses that things are really starting to come up and bloom. So I wanted to show you this combo is really, really pretty right here by the door. We have a fashionista, salvia, okay, or sage, meadow sage. That one's called Evening Attire, and it's so pretty. The spikes on here are like a navy blue with a touch of purple. That's the best way I can describe the color, but super vivid. And the flowering spikes are so showy compared to some of the other types of meadow sage, where the spikes are a little bit more compact, a little bit tighter, if you will. And those flowers are so, so beautiful. Full sun for this one, deer resistant, all those good things, pollinator attractant, awesome, okay? So do keep that in mind. And then look at, now this penstemon. Penstemon is a native plant of Ohio. It's a dark leaf variety. I don't think it's Husker Red. I think it's a different one. Okay, it's Mystica, okay? So Mystica, nice dark burgundy leaves, especially when you get more and more sun through the season, you'll get that darker coloration on it. And the flowering on Mystica is like a white with just a touch of lavender. It's really, really beautiful. But being a native plant of Ohio, and again, it's a cultivated variety of a native, but it grows really well in our clay soils. It can tolerate full sun to like part shade, does really, really well with the pollinators. It's just a good plant. They're really, really great to grow in this area. Again, sunny spots. So put your meadow sage together with your penstemon. Awesome, awesome combo. Okay, we're gonna keep going. There's a lot of petunias overhead. When we grow petunias, we grow them at very cool temperatures. Again, this isn't a heated greenhouse. So we'll plant petunias, bring petunias out to the greenhouse. You've got your sunny days, the greenhouse will heat up. You have your cooler days or your cloudy days, the greenhouse is gonna stay at cooler temperatures. But when you grow petunias a little bit cooler, again, they just stay really full and nice, and it's just a great way to do it. Bachelor button, perennial bachelor button, sorry. I always talk about this one, but I think it smells like fresh peaches when those flowers open up. You cannot beat that beautiful periwinkle blue and then the bright kind of pinky, deep rose pink centers on these flowers. Good early pollinator plant. So again, really nice to have in the garden. Very dependable, comes back year after year. No worries whatsoever. Blanket flowers here aren't quite up just yet. This is, I want to say an Arizona variety. One second. Yep, Arizona Sun. So Arizona Suns are a little bit later than spin tops. And we've been talking about spin top, gaillardia, or blanket flower. Spin tops, they really come out early. They're a great, great early bloomer. Arizonas are great too, just a little bit older variety. Again, another native plant, cultivated variety of a native. And look at, oh my gosh, the foxglove over here is just starting to show some color right here through the spikes. We grow Camelot. Sorry, I gotta look at the name. Oh, this is Dalmatian purple. We used to grow Camelot, Foxy, Dalmatian purple, the Dalmatian whites. There's a lot out there available with foxglove. Again, very, very fuzzy plant, good pollinator plant, poisonous, okay? So just be aware of that. That's why the deer and the bunnies leave this one alone. With foxglove, Typically a biennial. So first year's foliage, second year's flowering. You let that flowering go to seed and then go ahead and let that seed drop around where the plant's planted. And then you get the process to start all over again. There are varieties out there that are a little bit better at returning, more like a typical perennial. So hopefully if we see them out here, I'll show you those as well. More sage. Oh my gosh. This looks like Marcus. Let's see if I can find it. Oh, I lied. Blue Marvel. Check that one out. A little bit more compact than that fashionista that was over there. And I think this is a fashionista back here. This is one of the pink ones. But Blue Marvel has lovely long spikes of flowers, a little bit different. Gorgeous, gorgeous color on that. And then fashionista Moulin Rouge. I should really be remembering these names. Sorry, guys. There's so many sages, meadow sages out there. Woo, there's new ones every year, so I kind of forget after a while. But again, look at the difference between the flowering. One's not better than the other, just have a very different look to them. Compact blue, a little bit fuller spikes on this one, but then look at the taller fashionistas with those longer petals. I mean, gorgeous. The pollinators love these plants. So really add them to your garden. If you have sunny spots, there's no reason why you shouldn't be growing meadow sage. They really are beautiful. So I mentioned earlier, we looked at the Arizona blanket flowers, and those weren't quite up yet. They were just starting to bud. Look at the spin tops. Go all the way down that aisle. So the spin tops are up and full blooming and budding underneath as well. They really are a fantastic blanket flower or gaillardia. You've got, uh-oh, I already lost it. Orange halo, sorry. Orange halo's here. Really, really beautiful. Kind of a brick red to a little bit of orange. I see more red in this than I see orange, with just a hint of yellow around the sides. And then this yellow one over here is called Red Starburst, which I assume it's because of that red eye in the center, but it has this beautiful yellow ring around it. And if you look at this one, the petals are like almost tubular. So if you're looking to bring hummingbirds in, obviously the reds and oranges and gaillardia are very attractive to them because those are their colors that they're looking for. But when you have tubular petals like that, they can stick their proboscis in there and get some nectar as well. Of course, being in the daisy family, your butterflies are going to love them and your bees are going to love them too. So growing your blanket flowers, awesome idea to bring those pollinators in. Just remember, blanket flowers like it dry. So make sure you're planting them in well-drained areas, raised areas. They do not like to sit in wet. And especially over this past winter, it's been so wet that, you know, if they were sitting in a wet area, ooh, I don't know, you might not see your blanket flowers come back. So just be aware. They really have to get up out of the water. They want to be draining, always draining. This is orange touch, this one. Yellow touch? I think it should be touch of yellow, right? Because if you look at this, look at the flowers. It's just a little bit of yellow right here. It's so funny. We're still out in perennials, believe it or not, but this house is all annuals. So kind of converted a little bit. You know, sometimes we share space with perennials out here too, but again, you can grow some of your annual crops that can tolerate a little cooler temperatures out here. And this is one of my favorite petunias. This is wave lavender, okay? And it's like lavender something, sorry. Lavender sky blue. See, my brain is not working today, guys. Sorry about that. But look at the color variation. It's all the same plant. They just open darker, and then when they get more sun, they tend to fade to that little bit lighter blue and pastel. I love it. Isn't it gorgeous? It's such a pretty plant. Wave petunias, of course, are self-cleaning. Push off the old, bring on the new. Yes, they could use a haircut every once in a while. So you'll hear Angelo talk about, you know, giving your plants a haircut. So as they start to fill out and really start to trail down, and you can usually get about 2 foot of trailing out of the waves. You know, if they're getting a little leggy or if they're getting a little bald in the center, give them a haircut, feed them, fertilize, and then ready to go again. And then I wanted to show you this combo too. This greenhouse is filled with a ton of combos, but this is really cute. It's called Enchanted Evening. And so Enchanted Evening has your Dracaena spike, and then it has a white Calibrachoa, okay, so mini petunia in there. It has this lovely magenta, but the magenta, and then also there's these headliner ones. They have the speckles on them. And I think it's headliner, that they're kind of like a star series. Like they have starry spots on them, really, really pretty. So that collection's really beautiful. And then look at this magenta verbena too. So this is a good one if you're looking to attract your hummingbirds. The verbena, the magenta colored trumpet petunias. I mean, it's really, really cute. So Enchanted Evening, look for Enchanted Evening, but there's so many wonderful combos out there. Just depends on what colors you're going for, and you'll be ready to grow in the sun. We're in the tropicals department here at Casa Verde, and I'm surrounded by lush green and flowering, and it smells so wonderful here. It has to do with the gardenia. There's citrus blooming, there's gardenias blooming, there's jasmine, there's just a lot. There's a lot going on, but it's wonderful. I'd love to stay here, but I can't. So here we go. We've got the Boston ferns up above. The greenhouse is packed to the brim with these guys. And it'll probably be another week before we see these come into the greenhouses or the retail stores, excuse me, the Petitti stores, because they're tender, they're tropical. So you really have to make sure that they're going into a warm environment, and we're still not quite out of the cold just yet. So we do have to be careful with these guys, but they're coming, they will be there. And then check out the mandevillas. I mean, oh my gosh, their flowers are so beautiful. I showed you the diplodenias earlier. They were underneath the tomatoes, the tumbler tomato baskets, and they're the kind of shrubby form of the same family. They're really cousins. So diplodenias are the shrubby form that sometimes will trail over to the side. So we use them as tropical fillers and spillers. And then look at the mandevilla are definitely a little bit more vigorous growing, definitely larger foliage, larger flowering typically, but all the same colors. So they come in pinks, light pink, dark pink, in between, medium pink. You've got peaches. Look at the peach. The peach is so pretty. It has this gorgeous kind of orangey center to it, and then flares out to that light pastel peach. It's really, really pretty. We were walking down the row here, and it was like, oh my gosh, that's a beautiful color. There's reds, deep reds, and white combos here. So you'll see the whites, you'll see the reds coming out as well. So again, trumpet flower, always great attractant for your hummingbirds, especially if you need something to be kind of a pretty centerpiece in the garden. You could take this whole teepee if you wanted to, and you don't have to pull it out of the pot. You could dig the hole and just plant the pot in the hole, sunny spots, okay? So it's gotta be 6 or more hours of sunlight, and go ahead and just place that pot in there. And then at the end of the season, if you're planning on wintering it over, it's gotta come inside the house, okay? But taking that pot, just lifting it out of the soil, putting it inside the house, bright lit area. It can go under grow lights. You know, you cut them back a little bit, get them to a manageable size, bring them in. They'll winter over for you, okay? So really a beautiful, beautiful plant, very easy to grow, just lovely. I mean, oh my gosh, I love walking through here. So I'm gonna kind of part the mandevilla teepees. Look at this is Exora, is the orange shrubby plant on top of that tree. So it's a topiary, typically is a shrub. So they braided the trunk there, and you've got those beautiful bright orange flowers. lantana trees as well, so that bright yellow lantana. And I'm picking up some of that aroma too. It's got such an aromatic foliage. The flowers have a little bit of aroma too, but foliage is beautiful. If I part look at this the other way. So look at the tropical hibiscus down on the ground. Beautiful bush type tropical hibiscus. There are tree types as well. Gorgeous, gorgeous colors. Great butterfly attractant, great hummingbird attractant. Absolutely wonderful. Ooh, and Taylor, let's look at the jasmine really quick. Look at that white flowering jasmine. Do you see it? Small but mighty, really wonderful fragrance from these little plants relative to the gardenia, right? So gardenia is going to have the larger flower, jasmine's going to have the smaller flower, but more profuse. So it kind of depends on what you're going for. Foliage is glossy, kind of thicker, like a gardenia is. They do like full sun conditions, but that morning sun, evening shade is really nice for the gardenia and the jasmine family. So keep that in mind when you're growing. And look at the blue plumbago. So we have a hardy perennial plumbago that is wonderful. Common name is typically called leadwort, which is not great. But they're tough. They're really, really tough kind of ground cover plants and perennials. And they bloom sort of later in the season, so late summer into fall. But look at the tropical plumbago, has that lighter blue color, really, really pretty. Definitely more upright shrubs. So you'll see down south and things, you'll see kind of low hedges made out of the plumbago here. But if you're looking again for some really pretty blues, plumbago is the way to go. It's really a great tropical plant. We are still in the tropical section. I told you that it smelled like gardenias through here, mixture, and we came upon this big section of gardenia trees. They're so lovely. I don't even need to get my nose close to it. They're just exuding such a wonderful perfume. That's such a pretty scent. Great plant. Again, that morning sun condition is really, really good for the gardenias. Acidic soil conditions too. So remember that, like if you're feeding them, use Hollytone, okay, or Muracid, or one of the acidic fertilizers is going to be better for those guys. So keep that in mind too. But beautiful evergreen glossy foliage, large flowers. This is loaded with buds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on this side of the tree. So there's a lot of gardenias to be had here. Really, really beautiful. And then look at this hibiscus. So this is called Fiesta. You can tell why. Beautiful colors. I mean, tricolor, I don't even know. There's lots of colors on this flower, but look at how big this is. It's really a large hibiscus flower. Again, great tropical for attracting pollinators, great for full sun areas, decks, porches, patios, no problem whatsoever. You can grow hibiscus any sunny aspect, and they can take a lot of heat. They do like moisture, they do like to be fertilized, so just stay on top of that, but they'll do really, really nicely for you. And next to me here, this is actually what they're calling a yellow mandevilla vine. So relative to the mandevilla that I was showing you earlier, we used to call these Thumbergia. So another relative would be that black-eyed Susan vine that I showed you, Sunny Susie. So look for something like this if you're looking for some bright, this is like a bright lemon yellow. It's really, really gorgeous. So lots of tropical flowering plants coming your way, lots of annuals coming your way very soon. Lots of perennials already at our Petitti location, so do check out your perennials. You can grow perennials right now. You can plant perennials right now, no problem. With these guys, the tropicals and the annuals, just be careful. We've got to get out of, our spring frost periods first before we really start planting. But if you want to start planting up some container gardens, you certainly can do it. And veg, we also were showing you tomatoes and things, so everything is coming your way real soon in our Petitti stores, 9 locations. Please come and visit. Enjoy. Before we really start planting, but if you want to start planting up some container gardens, you certainly can do it. and veg. We also were showing you tomatoes and things. So everything's coming your way.